It's Monday. Welcome
Yes,
to
it
the
is.
Roommates Podcast once again. But everybody's still feeling the Mondays for sure around here.
Somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Somebody get a case of Mondays. And you're having some stress tea. De-stress tea. Is it working for you?
This isn't even my first cup. I rubbed myself down in lavender. This is a cup of lavender tea, and I just had a cup of that positive energy tea. I'm fucking trying, man.
Yeah. I was over there. I was getting batteries for my vape, which we're going to get into the vape stuff a little bit later on. But and I saw my lovely flowers, and Nicole got me flowers. It was a few days ago.
Aw.
Yeah. And I wanted to know how many guys get flowers from their girlfriends and or wives, because I think it's great. I love flowers, and whenever I get flowers, I feel special. I'm a special girl.
You are. I love getting flowers. Okay, so I've said this a lot of times throughout my life that I hate getting flowers. I love getting flowers. I hate getting flowers for an occasion, like for an anniversary or whatever. Getting flowers randomly is the best, though. Just
Right.
like, oh, what was that for? Nothing. Oh, you just love
Yeah,
me.
they were
That's so
they were
nice.
nothing flowers, and those are the best flowers. But
I agree.
yeah,
But if it's my
nice to get 'em.
birthday, like, get me a gift. Like, flowers don't count.
or do what we do, which is, well, I'm not getting you anything. I'm not getting anything, and then you get things, and then you're like, well, I guess I'll get you something. But what do I get? And then you go above and beyond, and you're like, oh, I got you this. I'm like, well, thanks. I got you way less.
Well,
but
thanks.
That's okay. But thank you.
I like getting gifts for people.
Yes. I watched the movie Convoy for the first time last night. Now, I've seen parts of this like on the movie channel, or God knows, it's been around since the late 70s. So it was it's just as bad and great at the same time as I expected it to be. Because I'm a huge fan of the Smokey and the Bandit series, and I know you've actually seen Convoy. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, you were trying to like tell me the gist of the story as I'm trying to go to sleep. You're like, oh, and this, and I was like, I have seen the movie Convoy so many times because my dad was a truck driver for like 5 years. So when he would go over the road in the summertime, sometimes he would take two of us at a time with him while we were on break. And we were allowed to bring one movie each. And I remember Convoy being on there one time. It was one of the movies in the truck. So I've seen it a lot.
And it's Chris Christopherson when he's really, really young and ripped. And he has this shirt off way too many times in the movie. But there's something about those kind of cult classic trucker movies. And they all follow the same lines. It's like taking something like trucking and making it absolutely ridiculous. And they do that in every single one of those movies. And, I mean, truckers love those movies. Even non-truckers love those movies. But, man, it's like cop movies. They just take it to the extreme. And you're like, this would never, ever happen.
Well, you got to make it exciting.
Yeah, it's action, man.
I know, but it's not so much that. It's the lingo, and it's like what they do. Although, granted, I think the lingo in trucking has changed just so much from the 70s to today. Because now it's like, they don't say that stuff. And God forbid they say good buddy, because they used to say 10-4 good buddy, but now they changed it. That good buddy means that you're gay. So now they're like, good friend? No, you better say good friend. You ain't my good buddy, right? And I remember.
Why do they take everything to that level?
I don't know.
God.
And good buddy, really? That was just such a. It's
Sounds
off
like
the
a
table.
candy bar.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it was used as a code and like the kind of surface, and people are like, I don't want to be that. Like,
Yeah.
I got to choose different vernacular.
Yeah. No, maybe that's what it was, but. Yeah, it was. It got 6 point something stars on Rotten Tomatoes. So,
Well,
I mean, granted, it wasn't a good movie, but it was enjoyable.
speaking of old movies with ridiculous lingo.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. But it had 8.4 stars, I believe. When I looked it up on IMDb, me and Dave for the first time watched A Clockwork Orange last night because it's on Netflix.
Yep.
And how did you feel about that, David?
I did not enjoy that movie.
I've
I was
gotta-
confused for the first hour, and it starts with horrible people, and the whole time I'm just like, there's no justification to this other than the horrible people, and I was just waiting for the turn and something horrible to happen to them, and you don't really get that
No.
satisfaction. So
When did I come in
felt
on
like
that
I
movie?
wasted
You
2
came in about
hours.
halfway through.
I was gonna say, I just saw the guy eating the entire time. It
Me
was like,
and-
this is
so
horrible.
many times, so many eating scenes.
With his mouth open.
Me and Dave made it about one sentence into the movie, and I was like, "Oh, we got to put subtitles on because I can't understand a fucking thing he's saying." And then, yeah, well, and Dave was like, "How is this such a popular thing?" And I go, "Well, it's a famous director, Stanley Kubrick, who
Yes.
sucks buttholes, and I'm gonna get hate for that, but I hate his directing style."
I think that what I've always thought about like Stanley Kubrick and a lot of movies of those days, like you could get away with so much. Like a shot could be established for like a long time because people's attention spans back then were way longer than they are today. Where you're just like, give me.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think we're just kind of spoiled by that.
And maybe like because it is so abstract and you just feel like what in the hell is happening most of the time. Maybe that's because nowadays people don't care to sit around and think about a movie for that long. We want to see it start to finish and then get it out of our brain. We're over it, on to the next thing.
Right.
Where back then they were like, it was 71 that movie was made. They wanted to give you so much to think about and like try to. No, I don't want it. I can't. I don't. Like it.
The thing that confuses me is I knew several people that ended up studying film and all that stuff, and they like obsessed over that movie in middle school, high school, and a few others, also Space Odyssey. Like those were the movies that they were like, these are the greatest movies ever made. And it's like now seeing it, I'm like, okay, it was filmed in an interesting way, but story wise, it was
Maybe it held so
garbage.
much more back then. I don't know.
Well, I'm talking in like around 2000.
But I will agree, like the shots, like there are some cool shots in there, and the way that they move the camera was really neat. But no,
But you like The Shining because of Stephen King, not because of Stanley Kubrick.
I actually, I didn't care for The Shining as a movie because the book is so good. But I'm just a Stephen King fan. That's the bottom line of that. Is if it weren't a Stephen King movie, I probably would have not watched it more than once.
So yeah, Clockwork Orange. What's your Rotten Tomatoes score on it?
But it had like 8-point-something stars out of 10.
Because of film snobs, film students, where they're just like, it's so deep, it's so interesting.
It's
Like
not.
it's you
Also,
don't
during a time that people were taking psychedelics and having a good time.
Maybe that's the problem,
Well,
Dave. We should have been on way more drugs.
But Rotten Tomatoes wasn't around until what in the last 10 years. So
Yeah,
the
but
thing
Rotten
is,
Tomatoes can,
They're-
I hate those kind of movie critics.
No, I looked it on IMDb. That was the IMDb stars,
Okay.
not Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Certain films I feel like people love just because it's cool to love them.
Right.
Well, I could see loving A Clockwork Orange in middle school because
There's
it's
lot
nothing
of
but
boobs.
boobies.
yeah, and
There's
it's Donnie
boobies.
Darko was like the Clockwork Orange of a lot
God,
of people,
yes.
and I didn't like it.
I don't like it, and I've watched it so many times trying to like it.
Yeah.
I remember in liking Donnie Darko, but I haven't seen it in a while. And I remember the last time I rewatched it, I was just kind of like, why did I like this so much?
Yeah.
Because it was cool to like it. Because it was weird and dark. Like it has all the elements of something I should love, but I watch it and I'm like,
You're like, no.
I really want to like this, and I think if I watch it again, I'll like it, and I never do. It's just terrible.
One thing we've all been really enjoying is the Mindhunter series. We saw the first season last year.
The Netflix series.
Yeah. And then we started watching the second one. And you weren't happy with the ending. We're not going to spoil the ending for anybody that's watching it, but you weren't happy with the ending. And I was like, well, it's based off of true events, so it kind of only goes off of what happened.
I wouldn't say I'm not happy with it. I think I'm not happy anytime Netflix releases anything because instead of spacing it out and watching it like a normal person, we watch it all in one day. And then I'm like, well, that's gone. Now what?
So we're getting a season 3.
Right.
Guaranteed. It's based on the book. So you could get the book, read the book, and know the actual ending to it. But because it's based on real cases, there's going to be outcomes that just are unsettling.
You're not gonna lie to
But
them, yeah.
it's all based on truth. So we can't avoid that.
But it's so good. The
is
acting's
really
so good.
good.
It's shot so good. And I'm not a
The
person that's into
soundtrack
that.
is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack to that show is my favorite.
I'm not really into the crime killer kind of vibe, like shows and stuff. And I know you like that. But it's very captivating and it's very, very well done. Been enjoying that
It's
a
really
lot,
good.
and we finished it.
See, we liked something.
We do. We don't hate everything.
We don't hate it all.
You just don't like old 70s cult classics.
No.
I think it's because we have such a high bar in what is now good filmmaking that stuff that was groundbreaking at the time. It's just like, oh, I don't get it.
I like Smoking the Bandit, which is a terrible movie, but I mean, I love it, but other people really, really hate it.
And maybe it's the hype behind Clockwork Orange, because
I think you're right.
there's so many people that put it up there on, like, I don't want to say a pedestal, but like they raise the bar up on it. They're like, this film is groundbreaking. It's amazing. And that's all I ever heard was how amazing that movie was.
Right.
And then I saw it and I was just like, this is garbage. Like,
That's how I
is this
felt when I
good?
watched The Space Odyssey the first time. I was like, oh my God, please. That was a form of torture. If somebody forced me to watch that again, I don't think so.
It was beautiful, but yeah.
I think people feel about certain directors, like Stanley Kubrick has a cult following himself. Like, people will love him just because of his style. It's like when you just like a certain artist. That's how I feel about Quentin Tarantino. A lot of his stuff, people are like, this is so stupid. But I will watch something just because he did it, because I fucking think he's a genius.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I don't care for most of the films he has made.
And I love
Like,
all of them that
they
I've
are
seen.
made well, but I just, out of all of them I've seen, Reservoir Dogs I enjoy. And that is really the only film he has put out where I was like, I would watch that again. All the others I'm like,
Come
eh.
on.
Oh, wait, no, Inglourious
Inglourious
Bastards.
Bastards, you
That's his
like at
best
least.
film. That is his
No,
best film.
4 Rooms is really great.
I've never seen Four Rooms.
You need to see that one at least.
Okay.
There we go.
There's some good stuff out there.
Unpopular opinion, I'm not a big fan of Tarantino.
Oh,
No, well, there you go.
see?
Well,
All right.
I'm impartial. I watch whatever, but most of his stuff is pretty gory, so I tend to not watch it for the most part. Behind Dave is a huge box because Apollo got a new crate because he has outgrown his
He's a big boy.
by a lot. He is
Yeah.
huge now.
He's massive and he won't stop. Won't stop growing. It's pretty great though. He's going to be a monster of a dog. He's way bigger than Benny now.
Yeah.
Longer, taller, all of it. And everybody always thought Benny was such a big dog.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, he's not. He's tiny compared to him. And I think actually Apollo's bigger than him right now.
He is.
Yeah. So he got that. That'll be exciting. Which I'm very blown away by the fact that Apollo will just go into his crate and just hang out. He just hangs out in there.
Yeah.
He's like, he
Yep.
It's a
doesn't.
safe space.
He likes it.
When he's
This thing looks huge though. Like, how big is this?
It's the same size as the one Finn had, I think.
Okay, so to house a chimpanzee for the most part.
I remember when you were ordering it, you were like, that's the biggest they make. And I was like, there's no way Apollo has the biggest crate they make. You're like, no, the one I just ordered, it's the biggest they make. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, he gets his own condo.
Yeah, you can get the condo. He can put the penthouse on top.
That's ridiculous.
On
Although, maybe.
Why are you giving me that crazy look?
getting an idea.
Actually, this is Dave's crate. He's going to
It's
fit
zero.
perfectly in there.
You
Like,
said
this
you
is the
want an
big-
office.
Oh, poor Dave. It's going to fit your setup real nice.
Moving along. I wish we could talk about Dave being in a crate all day, but moving along, we do have some serious topics as well. But
This next topic actually is the first one that I found that I've been the most excited to talk about for so long.
Yeah.
Because I found this article talking about how so much of the ice in Greenland is melting just from Greenland alone, that it's having an incredible impact on the entire world. So what they've measured right now is the oceans worldwide are rising about a measurable 0.5 millimeter every month, which doesn't sound significant, but when you look at the globe as a whole and think of the water all together on our globe rising, that's kind of incredible. But apparently it's melting quick enough that by the time like our retirement age, they said by the time like our generation now is of retirement age, so like 30, 40 years, the oceans worldwide could be up about 25 feet or around 7 meters, they said.
it's a huge problem, and I did read the article and I watched a video on it, and they had that really cool DC-3 with the turboprops. But they went flying around and they found a lake on the glacier, which is like, you don't find lakes on glaciers like that. and they were able to drop pods right into the lakes, and they went straight down, and they were able to measure the ocean temps below, and they found out that the ocean water is warm and is melting the glacier from the bottom as well as the top from everything. So it's a huge, huge crisis, and NASA is spearheading it right now. They're like, hey, Greenland, do you know you got some problems? We're trying to find out what's going on.
But it's not just a problem for Greenland. It's a problem for the entire, the Earth in general. We're going to be screwed, at least the people living on the coast, which there's a lot of coastal area around the world.
Yep.
Yes.
Like the fact that the living land space could shrink drastically within our lifetime, considering how overpopulated the Earth is already. Yet again, another reason that our generation is amazing, because we're not popping out babies, and we are single-handedly taking care of population control to the best of our abilities.
Yes.
Good job, team.
And I saw, what was it? Because Jake Paul and Tana Mongeau? I forget how to say her name. Mongoose.
Mojo.
They got together, right? And they got married. Well,
I don't know.
I saw a tweet where she put out, like, I found out the best way to get around lines at the airport, just get a private jet. And she just got literally destroyed in the comments about like carbon footprint and all this. And it's like, whoa. People are hypersensitive right now about carbon footprints and what people are doing with that. So,
and take this for what you will too.
Oh, of course. She's an idiot.
Well, no, not. I mean, she is an idiot. But I showed Jeff that video. Where were we when we went to? Oh, when we went to the Keys.
Yeah.
And I was like, you need to see this video. It was like the last sign monologue that they had of Coco the gorilla.
Yes.
And it was kind of mind blowing, the interpretation of it. It was like, basically like, she was like, I love humans. She's like, but the Earth is alive and it knows what you're doing. You are going to kill it. You need to fix this. And it was just like, help, help, help. It was like
it was
nothing
all sign
but
language
like
from Coco.
the gorilla is just saying
Oh.
like basically the last words that she had to say was like, man is destroying the Earth and they don't understand. She was like, the Earth is alive, man is alive, man is destroying the Earth. You need to fix this. And I was like, oh fuck.
Oh.
Humbly
I'm in so
words from
much
a
trouble.
gorilla. Like I watched the video too. It was insane because Coco learned sign language throughout the many years of its life, of her life.
Yeah, she had
But-
like a 2,000 word vocabulary by the time she passed away.
Yeah, so she was able to, clearly convey this to everyone. It was like, this is the problem. So bye.
Yep.
And we're seeing it pop up everywhere. And it's not the whole kick of the political issue of global warming and all that. It's like you've literally got ice caps melting. You've literally got these issues, and NASA's up there probing the oceans and figuring it all out. And ocean temperatures mean everything, because ocean temperatures that happen out in the Pacific Ocean, that creates our storm, our whole front system that comes through the United States globally. Not just us, but I'm just talking for us. And as it those ocean temperatures change every bit of weather pattern we get. So tornadoes, hurricane seasons, all that, that's all based on ocean temps. And when you really look at the way that it's kind of moving, it's like we're overdue for an ice age. And we won't see it in our lifetime, of course, but the Earth is moving towards the ice age, is what a lot of people, say or agree with. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence of, we've been thinking we'd have planetary changes that are going to kill us, when we're in the 20s. So
Well, it's just really nice though the thing is the planet does change.
Yeah.
It's just that if people don't see it changing fast enough or something noticeable, then they're like, this is just hippie talk.
That's
But I
Planet
think
X.
that we've had enough time in a technological sense, like we've had enough time with a high enough level of technology that we're finally seeing, okay, this shit is actually real and measurable. And these are the things that we can try to do to help fix it, rather than it just being like theoretical and like hippy dippy talk. You know what I mean?
Well, and one thing people don't think about is people are like, they're saying that the ocean levels could rise. That water had to freeze at some point, which means that the
Everything in
ocean
it.
levels were higher at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, our coastal regions have shifted heavily.
Oh yeah, and who knows what's in the ice? Because they found that worm was in the ice and it started moving around because it's It's coming to life, but who knows what kind of prehistoric, viruses or who knows what could be
a plague.
A plague could be stuck in the ice and
Oh
it's
my
going to be
God.
released in the ocean.
That is the worst and best news that you could possibly get because, come on. That's like the only way we're going to get a zombie apocalypse. And that's
Yep.
what have we been training for?
I have seen those movies, and I know I will be among the first group to die, so I am not rooting
You
for
guys
that.
got upset at me a long time ago when we brought this whole zombie apocalypse stuff up, and I said I'm just going to kill myself. You're like, what? No, you don't do that. I'm like, why
Wait,
would
wait,
I
First
even
of all,
want to go
no.
through that?
You are
Is-
the most useful person. You're the only one of us who's a pilot. You never
fly,
kill the
yeah.
pilot.
That's true.
You always look for the pilot.
All I've ever asked from my friends is if the zombie apocalypse happens and I get bitten, you do not hesitate to shoot me in the face.
I
right
promise
then
I
and there.
won't. I'll be like, have you been
Put him
bitten
in a
today?
cage.
No. Boom. Done. Just a precaution.
Thanks.
Have
You're
you seen Shaun
welcome.
of the Dead?
Yes.
That's where you're going to be in the shed.
We're going to keep you in there with a Nintendo. It's going to be amazing.
Switch.
Oh.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
never dying. No, but I mean, like, I seriously was like, if I didn't have something valuable to bring forth, which I know in a lot of apocalyptic times, I've always said that. It's like, if we had like this whole thing, I'm like, you're damn right. I'm going to the airport and I'm firing up a 730. I don't care if I can fly it or not. I think I can do it. I'm going to see if I can.
Yeah.
If the world's already dying anyway, what does it matter?
You stay alive because you're the pilot. I will stay alive because I think I have the strongest stomach for murdering things. And
Yeah.
I very much look forward to it. And you basically exist as a zombie now, so you are going to be great.
Wow. I have
I love
skills.
you, Dave.
Well, I mean,
I have skills.
I know how to do like
Yeah, like blending in.
wow.
blending in with zombies. And that's a good skill to have. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just being kept alive because I can fly airplanes. So
I'm gonna run off on my own, build myself a fortress. Nicole's
There you
not
go.
welcome.
That's fine.
I know a lot of people are
We'll
very,
see the
very
first
into
time
that.
you see blood and you pass out. And they're just gonna they're
What-
gonna come after you.
I know people are very, very into that, and they don't even take it lightly. They're like, yeah, no, we're ready. Until like it's like the doomsday preppers, but they're like legitimately ready for a zombie outbreak. Well, here's your shot. If it's gonna happen, you have that. But I don't know.
I'd be so excited.
I just think
It's just scary that that's happening at an alarming rate. And
I think we're preparing the best we can by living in Florida, if I'm being honest.
oh yeah, we're ready for the worst of what
we
you
live
got to
around
throw
the
at it.
worst people in the United States. So
Which I'm watching right now. There's a hurricane development. Well, there's a tropical storm development down in the Caribbean right now, and it's moving right towards like Puerto Rico and all that. And in the next 5 days, we'll find out more about if it's going to survive or not. But we might have a first hurricane that comes near Florida, which we haven't had yet.
all right.
I cannot wait for those calls from my parents.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh,
They're gonna
God.
be, you need to get out of there. You're gonna die.
Well, we're in Orlando, so we're in a good spot for
Yeah, we
hurricanes. But honestly, we've thought about that, and it's not even like the scariness of it. It's just the power issue.
You guys would have to like hardcore. You better just pop out videos and get things done.
Get things done ahead of time, and then we'll just put the animals in the truck and go to St. Louis.
Yep.
That's always been the idea from the moment we came down here, and it's not for any other reason than power. Like I'm not scared of a hurricane hitting midland Florida. It hasn't happened like in so long, but it's more or less the issue of not having power or be able to do anything.
Yeah, we'd have to get a few generators because right before we moved, that one hurricane hit Tampa, and I knew someone in Tampa, and they were without power for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's normal for 2 weeks. So you just take a 2-week vacation, go away from the hurricanes.
Yep,
that's what we'll do. So I'm monitoring it right now. I'm letting you know. I know you guys probably have no idea it's out there, and I'm not fear mongering. I'm just telling you that we finally have a legitimate threat.
You sound excited.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a weather nerd, so
You're like, guys, we got one.
yes. Actually, with weather stuff, I'm very excited. I'm in talks. I'm not going to go into great detail about it, but possibly I'm not putting I'm super excited about it, so I'm not putting it all out there, but I have an opportunity to go chasing tornadoes and severe weather in the plains in the spring. So I might do a mini YouTube series on that if that comes into fruition, which we talked about last time. Dave wasn't sure if it was fruition or not. It is definitely fruition. Everybody let you know that as well.
What did I say?
I don't know. You were like, I don't know what that is.
Say?
Maybe it was you that challenged fruition.
What is fruition we're talking?
You don't know what fruition is.
Use it in a sentence properly.
Something came to fruition. It happened.
Oh, okay.
So
Why did I didn't challenge him.
I probably
think it was
said
Dave.
it wrong because I say words wrong all the time, and Nicole just
the
laughs.
fortitude of
Well, Jeff
fruit.
says words correctly a lot. He just uses them incorrectly.
Yes, that is true.
So I never know what the
Sometimes.
hell you guys are saying.
Sometimes. But the first news came out, and this is a big one because we have a vice that we vape.
Oh God.
And finally have somebody that died from vaping.
Yep, they said there was a disease in their lungs. They're still studying it, but it was definitely caused from vaping. They said there have been now, it's like in the mid-100, like about 150, 160 people.
193.
Okay, but so there was like 28 of those were had other pre-existing lung issues, I thought it said.
So I have the article up now. 193 have been struck with similar symptoms between June 28th and today. Right now, 22 people have been hospitalized. 12 people's cases are being reviewed, and then the one person has passed.
But they said that they could have other pre-existing lung issues, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that putting that into your lungs is horrible for you.
Absolutely.
We know that. But the difference between that and cigarettes is just so monumentally different of you're putting in these chemicals and you know what they are.
Right. The issue is people, like, vaping was a great alternative to cigarettes because it was deemed safer than cigarettes.
Right.
But now it's turned into not an alternative for cigarettes. It's just turned into something, it's like the new cigarette. Instead of kids starting smoking when they're 14, like they did when, our
Right.
parents were younger, and even kids when I was that age, now they're kids in high school being caught with vapes and, stuff like that. My high school, only 20 years before I got there, I don't even think it was 20 years, honestly, but they had an outdoor smoking
smoking area.
lounge
Yep.
in my high school. So kids were smoking, and now they're vaping without ever having that, the cigarette to introduce them to it. Is it good for you? No. But is it still a safer alternative to cigarettes? I think until they prove otherwise, yes.
Yeah.
All I know is I did smoke cigarettes, and I know that breathing is easier for me since I've switched to vaping than when I was smoking.
To me, I started doing it to like, and I do very small amounts of nicotine, like 1 milligram or so. And it was just to kind of take the edge off of any stress. And now I enjoy that with beer. Like if I'm having a beer or something, I love to have that vape. It kind of just works together. But I was just telling you, I was like, I think I'm almost done with it. I think I'm about to quit soon because I don't know. Sometimes I go like a week without using it. Sometimes I forget about it. But lately, if I do remember it, well, the problem is I came across that vape juice that is delicious. It is the pink Starbursts, and it's so good that I'm like, well, I'm going to start cutting down a lot.
So that's what's got me wondering, because there's the whole debate on is we don't know how vaping affects people. And I think that there is a lot of elements that we haven't had time to test, and that is like different flavoring elements. Like
Right.
there's the rumors of popcorn lung. It's like, well, that comes from a direct chemical. Like people that actually get popcorn lung, it's from that chemical in the popcorn factories. So these 200 people that are sick, that could be from a single additive.
I thought popcorn lung was what happened to your lungs.
It's from breathing the chemical in.
Okay. I
Yeah.
thought it looked like popcorn. That's why they call it popcorn lung.
No, it's people.
That's how uneducated I am about it.
No, the flavor additive that gives that buttery flavor.
Yeah, that's the one that I
When
don't touch.
they inhale that too much, and then it affects your
Oh.
lungs.
They're vaping butter, popcorn butter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, well, I wonder what flavors they're using. And because don't you ever sometimes when you try a different flavor, it almost tastes more chemically. Like
Some of them, yes.
Yeah.
And then some, I've even had some where they feel like they burn. And then also I wonder about like just maintenance, coil use. Like if you vape too long on a coil where it's burning the juice, does it then turn more toxic? Like, there's so many unanswered questions.
Are you inhaling cotton out of the coil?
Yeah, like
you are. You must be.
There could very easily be something that is causing something new, or it could be one or two things that's why it took this long for it to happen to 200 people, and it happened all in a closed area, which makes it almost seem like that it could have been a bad batch of juices. It could have been a bad batch of coils.
Oh, okay.
It could have been the vaping culture of that area. So until I hate to say it, but until it becomes widespread, there's not going to be immediate answers.
Right. Yeah. It's good to have any sort of information out there because it's such a new thing.
I feel like everybody though is like waiting for that. They're like, you don't know, we're gonna find out soon. Here it comes. Like people are gonna start dropping dead from vaping.
But it's people that are arguing that are cigarette smokers and stuff. And if you don't smoke or you don't do anything, then it's fine. Like you want to have a debate about that, absolutely, you're gonna win. But the people that debate that stuff usually are people that are smoking cigarettes and having a fifth of Jack. Like, of course. Well, I ain't gonna touch that new stuff. It kills you. Like, what? So Jack Daniels and a carton of cigarettes doesn't. And it sheds your life for sure. But man, some people really dodge the bullets on those. I've known so many people in my life that it's like, man, I don't know how you dodged the bullet like till you died and you just did that.
Well, my grandpa passed away in the last year, and he made it to, I think it was 86. Mm-hmm. Smoked and drank every day of his life, was a World War II vet, ate whatever he wanted. He was too stubborn to pass away.
Yeah.
But he did everything wrong. He actually tried to quit smoking towards the last few years of his life, and his doctors said that if you quit smoking, you will die. Keep smoking.
Yeah. I've heard that actually becomes a thing of like, it does happen to where they're like, no, you can't, your body can't take a shock of missing what it has in it every day.
Well, there's cardiovascular repercussions of smoking and drinking. Your veins are restricted. That's why you get like a rush when you smoke a cigarette. It restricts your veins.
Oh.
So that blood is like pumping. It feels like it's pumping faster because it's got a more narrow area to go through. If you smoke enough and you keep that level of nicotine in you and you stop and your veins ever start to relax, your heart is used to pumping and working at a certain pace. You change that when you're that old, yeah, you'll have a heart attack.
You'll be dead.
Or you'll go into cardio failure. Like
yeah. Anytime
same
you
with
take
drinking.
something like that. Same with alcohol. Whenever you take it out of your system, it's like body's like, no.
Well, it doesn't restrict your veins. What it does is thin your blood. So then your blood's pumping at a thinner rate at a thinner consistency. That always blows my mind. But yeah, when you're older, you're like when you're younger, you can recover from that stuff a little bit easier. When you're old, you're lucky your heart's still pumping at all, let alone with all the chemicals that you're running through yourself.
Well, I was cruising through Twitter as I usually do, but the one that popped up recently was this influencer that had the motorcycle crash, and you probably have the article up so you see the pictures. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
they had a motorcycle crash and happened to have all this captured on a camera. There's no damage to that motorcycle that I can see. One, two, she's like on the ground, like her boyfriend's like helping her, and she's got like it looks like painted on scrapes or whatever. But
should I show it?
Yeah, if you want to.
All right.
But there's like smart water bottles next to her, and
yeah, there's them going out, and then here's the actual crash.
You got a photographer on scene with this beautiful bokeh. Look at this, got smart water and everything just really nice next to the shot. Look at the lighting.
The way her helmet's propped up, this is just.
You got a reflector shield shooting that light. I think that the lighting on it. Look at that. It looks like they just took like road grime, just rub it in there. There you go.
Yep. So she claims she lost conscious for a while, and that the water was there to help when she was waiting for paramedics or something. And that their friend who's a photographer who does photo shoots for her happened to be riding with them.
Of course.
They took photos of it.
But it's just so ridiculous. And she's not backing down. She's like, I had a motorcycle crash. And even if you go up to one before this, you'll see in the background, there's the motorcycle, unless that's one of theirs. Like, where's the motorcycle? Where's the crash?
Yeah.
Where's her motorcycle?
Where? Yeah,
you know, if
she
there was
had
a crash
rack.
and there's a photographer there, they are shooting the shit out of that.
Here's this photo though. What jumps out to me is that both bottles are label forward.
They are, and if you in the article, like people were like reaching out to Smart Water to see if
This was an actual deal.
Smart Water said that they do not have a agreement together, but that doesn't mean that she wasn't trying to get it. So it's that whole thing. The difference is that I'm deemed an influencer. I don't like the term influencer so much as I'm not trying to influence people into making decisions. That's why I'm very choosy about the products that I do endorse and use. But like the influencer market of like this is a little more than outrageous.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. You're even if it was real, we've gotten to the point where you're in an accident, a motorcycle accident, and it's got to be taken pictures of and filmed to put on your Instagram. Like, yeah. I mean, we already know there's people around that do that stuff, but.
Well, just the fact that they were that well. I mean, okay, granted, let's say a professional photographer was riding with them, had their camera. Like, yes, the photos would turn out very well.
Yeah,
but they also look like they've been touched up, color corrected. Mm-hmm. They weren't just thrown on there.
Dude, that looks like right out of Elle magazine. Like, it looks good.
Yeah,
that's professional as hell. I mean, I guess they had the other guy that was with them was like, he's like, well, I have a reflector. So here, get the reflector out and hold it right here perfectly. So we get that beautiful lighting that we're using, natural lighting off of the grimy road. And it looked like it was pretty dingy out.
Well, and so she was scraped up and all that.
Yeah.
Zero blood anywhere.
No, like, it just looks like
you
charcoal.
Trip and scrape across the ground, you're going to have at least some blood on you.
Yeah, there was somebody said that they're like, I've been in so many motorcycle accidents. They're like, when you hit the ground, they're like, what she had, he's like, road rash rips your skin off. It doesn't do this black mark. So the motorcycle culture is very outraged.
Maybe her crash was. In that case, I've been in a motorcycle crash. I've stopped at some stop signs and my bike has fallen over. It has happened. I'm a victim of motorcycle accident.
Maybe she fell trying to get on the bike.
You know, next time I'll just use portrait mode on my phone and I'll be like, oh my God.
Although I didn't see, was that supposed to be her bike in the photo?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Small bike.
Doesn't say.
I don't think so, but there's no damage to that bike, so I think it's her boyfriend's.
There was only one bike in any.
They don't want to show hers. It's like a Grom.
Moped.
It's
a moped. That's a horrible motorcycle crash. I don't know anything further about this other than what we saw in the article. But check it out if you want to look it up. It's absolutely ridiculous. But like, come on, influencers, let's stop with that.
All for the clicks.
All for the clicks and views. Which isn't Instagram trying to fight against that now? They're removing the amount of likes you get on a picture.
They need to do something to combat that because it's getting out of hand.
I think they are doing that.
There was the story it broke of the influencer writing that hotel owner being like, "I'll give you exposure if you let me stay for free," and he didn't back down and dragged her through the mud. But
that's every single like influencer, YouTuber, streamer that I've ever come in contact. Man, they're out to get some free shit. And I just wait and wait and wait. And if somebody wants to send me something, that's fine. But I don't send emails being like, hey, I want Smart Water. I want cases of it.
Oh.
That comes back, though, to the fame culture we live in now. Everybody wants to be famous.
This doesn't help our case that we're on a podcast right now, but we're not aiming to be famous people.
I mean, I am going to be looking into trying to set us up some sponsors at some point because I do want to do more with the podcast. Right. I've been looking into getting us on like iTunes and stuff like that. And that
would be great. And RSS feeds. There's been a lot of people that want that. They want on Spotify.
And to do it correctly, because I've been looking into it, and maybe some of the viewers can, if they know something, that I would love some help. Yeah. But there typically is some fees involved. So I want to do it smart. So eventually we'll get there. But like I said, like, we might have sponsors on here at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't mind doing reads and things like that, but it's just, it's that whole, like, everybody, and you see it in the younger generation for sure. Everybody is like, you know, they're going to be a YouTuber, they're going to be a streamer, they're going to do this and this and this. And it's different because where I sit now, like it's my job and I do that. But man, I didn't grow up that way at all. I never grew up thinking I was special by any means.
It's the new I want to be a rock star.
You're
or
right.
a professional athlete. When you got a kid who's on a baseball team and he's like, I'm going to go pro.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you, buddy? Or like they've learned to play guitar for 6 months and they think they're going to be the next Motley Crue. Like,
I think it's so important for kids to have like that 16-year-old kid to get that first job, even if it's at fast food or whatever it is, working at your dad's shop or something. Like, you need that experience.
Well, you can see the YouTubers that start young. You can see how it affects them when YouTube is all they know, or when what is it called? The influencing,
yes,
these
influencer
kids
market.
that become famous on Instagram at 16 or Vine or whatever it is. You can see that they don't appreciate how to behave as a human in the real world, or how to treat people, or the value of money, or just the value of a lot of things in life. I agree with you very much. I think like you and I think that's one of the reasons we work so well as a relationship, but why this job I don't think has changed you. I tell you that all the time, like, man, I'm so happy you're the same person, because we were poor.
Oh yeah,
like
we're poor.
Even when the three of us were living together starting out, we were poor.
But we've worked multiple jobs, and that's something that a lot of people can't even say for themselves. Have you worked multiple jobs, like actually had more than one job at one time? So many people do that, and it still goes like, it's just that's the whole system. But we got to experience. I've done so many different jobs. Worked in factories. Worked on airport ramps. I've done everything that like you could really think of besides really shitty jobs. I've been very lucky. I did not go into fast food. I don't count Mr. Good Sense's fast food in like a fryer way, but I have done fast food and delivery. But I've done so many different jobs. But I'm so grateful for that, because I wouldn't want to grow up not knowing people, not giving a shit about the person that's serving you when you go out to dinner, because like that's our main vice is to go out to dinner, and we always treat the wait staff great and tip them because
all of us have been there.
We've done that.
Sucks.
Yeah, I think everyone should have to work in some sort of food industry.
Or just service, retail.
I spent 3 years in fast food, and it only took me about probably a week before I hated absolutely everybody in the town I lived in. Because they were the worst. They would walk up to the counter and just already be mad.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I'm happy when I'm getting food. How are you already angry? Like, you haven't even ordered yet.
I guess I'll take a burger.
Yeah, like just anger for no reason.
You feel like fast food was the worst job you ever had?
No.
Was it Walmart?
Working in the Walmart
Yes.
deli was the worst food.
I still swear by that.
Worst food.
It was the worst job I ever had, and it wasn't even necessarily like, it was the lack of management that made it so bad. Yeah. My boss was never around. I was never trained. I got disciplined for not doing something that I didn't even know I had to do. And then I found out about, to keep the unions out, they have a whole system for firing you where they can't just fire you. They have like a process.
Yeah.
And I exploited that to the point where I just quit. So I missed like 12 days of work in 6 months because they couldn't fire me.
Well, you worked at the Friendly Little Star, we'll say. You worked there, and you had a manager or something was selling drugs through the drive-thru.
Oh, yes. Okay. So that's where I spent the most time in fast food. I worked there for like 2.5 years, and I was mainly drive-thru. I also made chicken because I was one of the. No,
I also made chicken.
You made the chicken?
So no, the fried chicken. This fast food chain
you.
sold fried chicken at the time, and like when they showed me how to do it, I just did it. Apparently, the other employees didn't do it. The directions, they just skipped on it. So I did it the way I was supposed to. So they always had me make the chicken, and I also worked drive-thru. Well, one night I was working a later shift, and I normally wouldn't work late shifts. And this assistant manager, who was the night manager because of 24/7 location, he's there, and it's just me and him. And this guy comes in the drive-thru and is like, "Yeah, I'll take a small green salad." And I was about to be like, "I'm sorry, we don't sell salads." And my manager literally pops around the corner and goes, I got this one. How about you go hang out in the walk-in for about 5 minutes? I was like, okay. And I just walked away. Like, I knew instantly. I was like, this guy's dealing drugs out the window. And then within a few months, he robbed the place, and they found his car burned in southern Missouri.
Jesus, that is epic.
Yeah.
That's like the best thing you could hope to happen when you work for fast food.
That's a hell of a story from the Friendly Star.
Yep.
From the
I
Friendly
love that.
Star. Wow. Yeah, but that's the biggest thing. It's just, I think that more people need to experience those kind of jobs to really appreciate the people that work them.
Yeah, because you always remember how you were treated when you work those jobs.
Yep.
And when you're on the other side, you can't do that to people. Like,
I don't think it's really hard to be a nice human being.
I agree. Well, like, even when I'm having a bad day, like if I'm having a horrible day and I'm pissed off or just something, and I'm like, well, I need to eat.
Don't leave the fucking house.
Well, no, I'll go to the drive, but I always try to be as polite to them. Like, I make sure I'm not pushing it toward them because they're doing nothing wrong. They hate their job. That they don't want to be there.
Oh yeah, local Taco Bell. It's just nothing but stoners.
Oh my God, they're so high.
They're always so high. They're like, so that's like, so what kind of like sauce? What sauce do you want? And I was like, I'll say what it is. They're like, all right, anything else? Like, it's that kind of experience. But I'm never like, this is an outrage. I'm calling your corporate offices and saying you're high up there. I'm like, no, I get it. Be high because it's a shitty job. As long as you can get me my fucking double-decker tacos, I'm happy.
Were you... I can't remember if we were together the one time where the guy asked us to repeat the order like 3 times.
Yes.
He was like, we would tell him, he'd be like, wait, what was it? It was like he just couldn't.
He forgot it.
Like, he eventually got it in the computer, which is all that mattered because then the cook could make it. But, oh, man, he was so high.
That's the problem with the screen now. The screen has turned into this whole thing where it's like, is that right? I've literally had people say that. They go, they're not friendly. They're like, okay, that'll be $12.53. Please pull around or anything like that. No, is that right? What is on the screen, right?
It's a contract now.
I go, I guess. I don't know what DBL is. I mean, I do. It's double. But I'm like, I don't know your code, so I guess it's correct. But they do that. They're like, is that right? But I've actually seen it wrong many, many times. And you're like, no, it's not right. I don't know what that is, but I don't know what a CHZ burger is. Play real dumb.
Cheeseburger.
Just play real dumb. Like, no, I don't know. In the city, it's way worse. It's more just like a rude thing rather than somebody just being high and...
Yeah. Well,
you're always in a good mood whenever they give you your food.
My favorite with the screens is the place I worked at, same place.
Yep.
We had the screen, but this is back in like 2000, so they weren't fancy screens.
Right.
Like, it was just some lettering, and people would ask for like a drink with no ice. There was a no ice button. I mean, there was no ice button in the register. I couldn't mark it as no ice, so I would mark it no ketchup.
Oh, okay.
And people would just be like, why does my drink say no ketchup? I'd be like, that's just so I know not to put ice in it. They'd be like, why can't you just say no ice? I'm like, it doesn't let me. I'm like, trust me, ketchup is nowhere near your drink. It's so I know there's no ice. And even
You should have had it say like no spit.
I
couldn't punch in what I wanted. But even my manager at one point saw it, was like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's so I know not to put ice in it. And she was just like, all right, whatever. Just
And now they're getting real fancy. Now we're getting like big screen TVs out there.
Oh, yeah. It's all Hogwarts style.
Yeah. Moving images.
Yep.
Which is amazing that those things have got to be buckled in. I mean, the fast food areas, that some of those fast food are like high crime areas. They're trying to like unbolt those full screen TVs and take them to the pawn shop. They've got to be doing some sort.
You can tell that we lived in St. Louis for too long
Yes.
when that's what pops in your head.
It's one
You're
thing
not wrong.
I normally don't want to go out of my way to like McDonald's,
Yeah.
but I want to go to one that has the new self-serving kiosk because they have like, you can like literally build your burger out and everything right there on the screen. Like, you don't even talk to a person,
I've seen those.
which I think is great. I
Eventually,
just want to go
shout
try
at it. Delete all pictures of Braun. Just give me a burger. And it's like, okay.
Well, I'm surprised they don't have or maybe they already do, where it's an app and you literally just punch in what you want and you walk in and grab it.
Well, Starbucks has that.
Yeah.
The Starbucks app. You just
Welcome to almost
But
2020.
I tried using it and I was like, this is even harder than ordering a Starbucks in person. Can't do it.
Well, that's what I'm also worried about is a lot of these corporations, they skimp on technology because they don't want to pay the proper cost. And so you get an experience that is not user friendly and it kind of sucks.
You just show up and you're like, yeah, I'd like a Xanax because using your app gave me anxiety. So can't do this anymore.
Let's move on to gaming news before we forget about it, because we'll forget about it.
Yep. All right. So there is not a lot of gaming news this week, mainly just because I didn't see a lot that caught my eye.
I like this delivery on that. Not a lot of gaming news.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is news. It's like release dates. So like The Witcher 3 is coming out on the Switch. If you're going to play The Witcher 3, I recommend not playing it on the Switch. I mean, it's one of those games that you want to experience it.
Any high graphical game, you don't want to experience it on the Switch. People want it because they own the Switch, and they're like, well, this doesn't look like it. It's like, yeah,
that's some people.
everything.
That's the only console they have.
Yeah,
I get it.
I agree. If it's the only console you have, play The Witcher 3 any way you can. It's an amazing game.
Has some lulls in it, but
well, and it is rated M, so please don't be a minor.
it's rated M for minor.
Rated M for boobies and banging.
Yeah,
Boobies and banging.
Yep.
if you play it like a pervert.
That's true.
Well, how
you
else
can
do
opt
play
out
it?
of that.
No, I'm gonna look up the exact conversation tree to make that happen.
Good God.
One of the other things I thought was cool was Minecraft is getting official ray trace support.
Yeah, I've seen the video of that. It looks crazy.
Yeah, it does. Like, there's been ray tracing shaders out there that people have just made, but this is coming straight from Microsoft and Mojang. Like, it's going to be built in, and the game looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it looks really, really cool. I did see that.
Then also we have announced Kerbal Space Program 2 for early 2020.
That's really cool. I watched the trailer for it. The trailer is not in-game footage, just so you know if you're out there looking for it. But if you watch the developer diary, which I did watch that, there are moments in there that has pre-alpha footage, and it looks really good. Like it does. I'm huge. Like, I love Kerbal Space Program. I'm very terrible at it, but I love it. It's because it is rocket science.
It's actual rocket science. Yep. So with 2, it is set to release in March of 2020 for Windows PC via Steam. It's going to be $59.99, and then shortly after, it's hitting PS4 and Xbox One, which I didn't think the first one had console release.
No, it didn't.
So this is actually really cool that it's going to finally be on consoles.
And Wreckfest releases on consoles tomorrow. Or Wreckfest.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I'm actually thinking about getting it for console because it'd be a fun game to just play.
Yeah.
In a room or something.
Yeah.
Without having to have all your equipment.
Other than that, one other thing, I didn't even put it in the show notes because I was never a player of it, but World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
They had, I believe they came out today. They released the vanilla, or they came out with vanilla servers. So it is the version of World of Warcraft that came out in the first time. It's the 100% original, no expansions.
The one that's like Leroy Jenkins, people waving at each other.
2004 release or whatever it was. Like, it is vanilla original World of Warcraft. So if you're a Warcraft fan, or you used to be back in the day, you can now relive those days on the exact game without all the
Are you talking
stuff.
about like World of Warcraft, not like the Warcraft 1 and 2 series, not Sun?
Yeah, not the Warcraft
As you
series.
wish, my lord.
Like, I wish they would go and make Warcraft 4 because I loved Warcraft 3.
I love 2. 2 is definitely my favorite of all time.
2 was really good.
Job's done.
3 with the mods that
Is
it
that
had.
the one I have then?
I don't think so. I think you have World of Warcraft. You don't have the top-down strategy one.
The real-time strategy game.
RT, RTS version. It looked like a cartoons. Well, I mean, I don't even know what it looks like. It looked very good.
It's been a few years since I've played
2 was cartoony. 3 was a lot more 3D.
It's like playing SimCity, but instead you have like you build up these things and you
collect
can battle
resources, build armies, and you attack with the armies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
childhood game.
yeah, it was.
I played it in 1997, 98.
You were playing 2 then, I think. 3
Yeah,
came
it
out
was 2.
Yeah, 3 came out later.
Yeah, I think I got out of because I moved into StarCraft after that. I was like, well, I'm ready for something different.
Were those games free when they first came out?
No.
Nope.
But they were cheap.
Oh,
so
that's why.
I was huge into StarCraft 2. Or no, not StarCraft 2.
3.5 inch
StarCraft.
floppy disks.
Oh, I had them on disc, but it was like $20 got you StarCraft and its expansion, and it was free multiplayer because Blizzard's always had free multiplayer. So me and my friends, like, I played the hell out of StarCraft. Like, it was the only game I played for like 2 years, like 5 hours a day, every day. Almost failed high school because of StarCraft.
There's a lot of people that have
because of the game and not because of lack of self-control.
I mean,
it doesn't boil over into real life later
The
in life at all.
only game I could ever play multiplayer was RuneScape because it was free. As long as we had internet, you
was
could do it.
I think the only free back in the 90s. There were no free games. Free was not a I mean, there were
Until the
free
internet came
free
around,
little
and then
games.
Yeah.
But if a game was made by a big company, it wasn't free.
AOL
that's
games.
a new
You didn't
thing.
like AOL games at all?
No, I did not.
AOL games.
Just like stupid, like ski slope games and just dumb crap.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
They're
I played Windows Pinball sometimes.
Littered with ads because the internet was still
nice.
new and there was like ads. It's good.
Yep.
We'll get into we do want to talk about the Disney service that's coming out. It's like Netflix and Hulu and all that, but we'll get into that next time.
Okay.
We ran out of time, and I know we can go into detail about that for the most part.
Yep.
But yeah, it's good to be back on a Monday and not a Sunday, and we'll try to continue the trend forward. So
Have
it is time.
Amazing rest of your week.
Yep.
Yes.
Later,
Have a
everyone.
great week. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No. So I choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah. Take you like a pill. Feel you like a pill to get my fill. No, do me in the worst way. Don't let me sleep, never say you're sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah. Take you like a pill. Get my fill.
Wherever